Good morning, guys. We're going to do an experiment with ocean water versus regular water. Now, we know that ocean water is really salty. You guys have been to the beach. You've tasted the ocean water. You know it's full of salt and it's gross and you don't want to drink it. And we know that the regular water we get at our house is tasty and it doesn't have salt in it. But is that the only difference? How it tastes? Or could salt water be different in other ways than just taste? What's the difference between ocean water and regular water? So one of the ways we're going to test that out today is we're going to see if things float differently in water. So here I have a jar of regular water. This is water from my tap, and I can drink this. And here I have water that I've mixed a lot of salt in. You can still see a little salt sitting in the water. So this is ocean water. It's very salty. Now, I'm going to see how an egg floats or sinks in each jar. So the first jar I'm going to test this egg in is the regular water jar. The jar that has no salt in it, just regular water that we can drink. And we're going to see if it's going to sink or float. So make your prediction and tell me if this egg is going to sink or float. Ready? I'm doing it gently because I don't want the egg to crack. All right, what happened here? You can see that the egg sank right to the bottom of the jar. So we know that in regular water, water without a lot of salt in it, eggs do not float. Do you think that is going to be the same or different when we test out our ocean water? Do you think an egg will float in the ocean water? Or do you think it will sink in the ocean water just like it does in regular water? Make your prediction. Does everyone have a hypothesis? All right. Let me adjust the camera for you. So let's see what happens. Whoa, look at this. In the ocean water, the egg floats. So let's hold this up for comparison. Right? In regular water with no salt, the egg sinks to the bottom. In ocean water that's very salty, the egg actually floats. The salt makes the water different. It tastes different, but actually it also makes things float a little bit more easily. Now, how could floating more easily in salt water help the creatures that live in the ocean? Next time you're at the beach, maybe you could experiment and see if you float more easily in salt water than you do in pool water. Now, think about animals that live in the ocean. What would happen if all those fish just sank right to the bottom? How would they swim around? Would that be easy? I don't think so. Think about those giant whales and the ships that sail the ocean. How does the salt water help them? The salt water helps them float better so they can swim around, doesn't it? It makes it more easy for creatures and animals and boats and ships to sail the ocean and swim in the ocean because they don't just sink right to the bottom quite as easily as they would in regular water. All right. So as you go exploring more about animals and oceans, one thing we've learned is that salt water helps things float. It is easier to float in salt water than it is to float in regular water. So we know that salt water tastes different, but it is also denser. It has more salt in it, so it more salt, the salt in it makes it denser so that it's easier for things to float in it. So those are two ways that salt water is different than regular water.